welcome back. It's still VOP this morning on VOP TV, Voice of the People Television. Okay, the Apex Igbo Sociocultural Group, Ohanaeze Igbo Worldwide, has reiterated its call for restructuring of the country and creation of additional states in the Southeast. The President General of Ohanaeze Igbo Worldwide, Chief Emmanuel Iwanyango, said the group was unhappy with the 1999 Constitution as amended and called for a restructuring of Nigeria where power will be devolved from federal government to state government. While calling for the creation of extra states in the zone, he lamented that the Southeast had lost trillions due to inadequate states, like in other geopolitical zones. He threatened to take legal action against the federal government if it failed to give the region additional states equivalent to other zones in the country, saying that, and we quote, "We are assembling Igbo lawyers to pursue it." He also added that the group would allow the state anywhere as long as it was created in Igbo land. Okay, with us in the studio, we have Dr. Ganiu Oluwashola, who is the Managing Director at KJB Professional Service and also a public affairs commentator. And we also have with us Mr. Olusegun Oko-Ade, who is a public affairs commentator and also a policy analyst. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good having you.
Great to be here this morning.
Right now, I have to ask you this, Mr. Olusegun. Looking at what the President General of the Ohanaeze Igbo Worldwide, Emmanuel Iwanyango, talked about, he also faulted the 1999 Constitution as amended and his call for creation of more states in the southeastern region. What do you make of the call, sir?
Well, thank you very much, Fina. Going through the reaction of the President of Ohanaeze Igbo, there are two things we're speaking to here. Faulting the 1999 Constitution, which he is requesting for more power to be diverted to the states, which so many of us have actually been speaking to. You see, if we must experience the growth that we are all yearning for, we must do things in a different way. We've had this approach of concentrating so much power at the federal and not allowing the states. And I think with the new approach by this administration to give more funds to the states, I think more responsibility should be given to them to make it work. I think I'm in support of his approach to say, let's divert more power. And which area are we actually looking at? Can we start talking to state policing in such a way that at the chief security officer of the state, you will be responsible for things that happen in the state. A lot of things are happening, and because the governors will tell you that they don't have full control of the activities, they are incapacitated, they talk to their CP need to take instruction from the IGP need to take instruction from the president, and you can imagine that bureaucracy, what would have happened. Look at what we faced in Delta. Even the governor do not have a say in the problem. Look at what is happening in the north. Look at what is happening everywhere. I think it's right in that area, and it's what we've been advocating for. That's the area of security. When you talk of power, if you are able to empower the state, they should have IPP. We've had that work in Lagos. I'm sure you know Lagos should have IPP that worked for the Alausa area, of which they are actually benefiting certain things from. Allow more investors. So each state, it becomes more competitive in such a way that each state knows that it needs to make certain provision, certain rules, and you empower the state assembly to actually carry out certain things. So I support him in that area. But this aspect, second aspect of creation of more states is where I have an issue. Knowing fully well that people like me, personal, is advocating that we should even streamline the number of states, maybe from 36 and go back to 27, because there seems to be some states that are really not viable, currently. That consolidating them with states close by will do more good than just allowing them to be. So I will not advocate for creation of more states, even for him specifying that it's in that other area.
Since you've already responded, let me come to Dr. Ganiu now. I'll still ask you the question. the creation of more states what we need at this time in Nigeria. I'm not talking about devolving powers, allowing states to create, to have access to their resources and use it to create, to establish things that will encourage growth. No. Is this not a political motivated statement? Because if you don't recall, we had a lot of back and forth when it came to getting ministers, all right, from a certain place. The Southeast were complaining that they don't have enough spots right there. We didn't have, the Southeast did not have enough representative, all right, as compared to other regions. Now, isn't this a move to ensure that there will be more ministerial positions allocated to the Southeast as against devolving powers for creation of amenities and generation of revenue and the rest of it?
You see, that's a brilliant question. You can see that, you see, when you become a leader, leadership is not about a selfish interest. It's about the interest of the populace. So because creating more states is indirectly creating more governors. Because those states are going to have their governors anyway, right? More ministerial appointment and also more local government chairmen, right? That also depend on the central purse to be able to carry out the activities. So if they are depending on the central purse, so what's the essence? The question is that, if they are created, on which purpose? What are the benefits? What are the benefits to the people in that community? Even with what they are, how were the resources harnessed? You see, one of the states that is doing well over there is the Abia state. And you could see a lot of thumbs up coming here and there, right? And also trying to reject what it, I can remember when we were growing up too. The cloth that they sew over there, it's a top notch. TM cannot even stand it. Right. At times they can say, okay, for it to amount or more, they just take a TM because they are just good to the core. Right? Because we have people that are intelligent. The question is that how do we, is not only calling for creation of state. The place before an investor comes in there, is the place also conducive and also attractive for investors to come? Because as we speak now, there are a lot of battles, internal rancors and every other thing. No work on Monday, no work on Tuesday, no work on Friday. So is it in the midst of this, why not put your house in order first and think about, let's see, is there a need to create more state? If you are creating more state, what is the sustainability? Do you know that creating more states also will also increase the burden on the central?
Okay, talking about the burden on the central, when Iwanyan was making the call, he made mention of power or resource control being actually what they are going to use in this state if they've been created. That was why he made mention of the devolving of power, not making it to be more centralized with the federal government. Now, he's also said something about the region losing trillions of money. Yes, he called marginalization to be part of what they are facing, and the region losing trillions of money to be the reason he's calling for more creation of states in the southeastern region. Now, do you also think that if they create the states in the southeastern region, that the resource control will enable them, those states that they will create now, to be on their own? And also, do you also think that see marginalization in what?
So, what we work in my field is statistics.
Okay.
You don't just come up and say we are losing trillions of money. What are the parameters? What are the statistics? On what platform? Right? Is it in terms of revenue or in terms of tapping into the natural resources over there? Or in terms of service provider? Right? There must be a parameters for you to say that we lose so amount of money because we are, take for instance, during the VAT saga, between the federal government and the state government, saying that the state government should, and people come up with statistics that rivers will generate so amount. oh, Lagos generates so amount, whereas Kaduna, Kano, that they destroy a lot of these building material, they generate so little, and they get this benefit from us. So because of that, we need to cut it off and ensure the state enjoy the resources, the taxes they generate themselves. Those are statistics. So for you to say you are losing trillions of naira, on which platform? Is it in terms of your resources is being diverted, using it to help other states, to be able to develop other states, or you don't have enough resources to tap into the natural resources? So we must not just come in and say figure, but there must be a bit of statistic and backing and saying that these are the reasons why we are coming out like this.
Okay, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Sisson, on this. Now, I'm still big to want to ask on this state creation issue. Let's not also forget that in recent times, since the removal of subsidy, the FAC allocation to states have increased. Before now, states get allocation every other month. Now, it is quite surprising that Dr. Iwayan is not even talking about what the states have done with the money and the monies that have been given to them. But here's my question. In all, he did make mention of the fact that the Constitution is also a problem, which a lot of persons have, made mention of as well. Is there any level of political will for the state governors of these states, maybe with an exception of Abia State and of course a bit of Port Harcourt, that have infrastructurally made a mark on recent time? Is there like any level of political will that is being lacked in governance of these states to have gotten to this decaying moment where the Ohanaeze is coming to say, no, let's create more states and let's drop power to the barest minimum to the states as well?
Thank you very much, my brother. You see, we need to put certain things to perspective when it comes to this issue of state creation and some regions considering themselves to be shortchanged. See, we have the North and we have the South. By my own destiny. And when you look at the way some of these things have been shared, you hear Northwest, Northeast, North Central. What I have observed over time is North see themselves as one. That Northeast, North West, and North Central, they consider themselves as one. But when it comes to the South, you will see Southwest, Southeast, and South-South. Those are three different entities and not one, the way the other guys perceive them. So most of the time you come, the agitation by the Ohanaeze, the same you do hear from Afenifere and you hear from the Ijo, that we are being shortchanged, that the Northerners, that's the way they put it, the Northerners always have a larger portion of that particular thing, forgetting that it is the same way we have the North divided into three and the South divided into three. But the North has taken maybe a few steps to say that we are one North disintegrated into three. And how can we harmonize? Because I've seen these, agitations here and there. The Southeast is asking for more states that they've been marginalized. The Southwest is asking for more states that they've been marginalized. The South-South is being marginalized. But if you put them together, maybe it's a difference out of the 36 states. I can't put that figures together. It might be a differential between the South and the North, maybe 2 or 3 states. But I'm saying that if you must come to the table to ask for state creation, it must evolve out of some of the things you have contributed to the bottom line. See, I appreciate the Southeast so much. And I think it's a wake-up call for the Southerners to see how we galvanized together. If you have observed politically, when the Northerners come in, I find it difficult to know whether it's from the Northeast or Northwest or North Central. When they are talking, they talk as one. I was on a particular forum yesterday and we're picking up on the issue of the governor of Zamfara saying there is insecurity in the north. He did not talk of his state. He said in the north. And under the riders too, yesterday, if you read the papers, it was saying, Zulum was saying, I think things are taking a better shape in the north. So they talk together as one. And that's what we've been saying, that in the south region, can we come together and use our strength? The southwest, we have our strength. The southeast, we have our strength. The south, we have our strength. If, I keep telling individuals, if we come together in unity, our southerners, the north will respect us for who we are. But I don't know whether it's the ego or the issue of personality that keeps dividing us. When you get somewhere, you will not see anybody saying, I'm a southerner. I'm from the east. I'm from the west. I'm south. We are the one controlling the resources. But when you see a northerner, my brother, it is from the north. Oh. They don't know northeast, they don't know northwest, they don't know north central. So that is an area we must start looking for it. I can tell you, I have carried out my research. We have the strength as far as this country is concerned. Intellectually, we are there. In terms of creativity, when it comes to my southeasterner, and that's why these days I devote myself saying southwest, southeast, we are south and we are north. It's between us. During the last election, you know, that was the game they played. They said we are giving the power to the south. They didn't say to the southwest. They said it's high time, and you know, Wike said it. He said it's high time the power must come to the south. But the question is, our southerner, do we see ourselves as one, as the northerners will see? It is when allocation needs to be shared. You see the northerners trying to galvanize that, no, we are three. But when they want to speak, they speak in unity. And that's what I want to encourage the southerners to do. That this call by Ohanaeze should be a collective effort of the southerner, knowing fully well that behind that, the east you are talking is southeast. Behind the west you are talking about is southwest. Behind the south you are talking about is south before the south. So let's consolidate this together, work together as a southerner, as the northerner will do, and you'll see the growth that will be there.
Okay, thank you very much. That was quite insightful. Now let's break it down. Now let's break it down as to the states in each geopolitical zone. All right, Nigeria is divided into 6 geopolitical zones. You did talk about the north central, northeast, and north. You know, so let's break it down. Let's see the number of states and look at where Chief Iwanyanwu might be speaking from. All right, because he's speaking from the position of the southeasterners. Now, the north central has about six states plus the FCT, making it 7. We have Benue, Kogi, Kwara, Nasarawa, Niger, and Plateau. And then the northeast have 6 states. They have Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, Yobe. Northwest, 7. We have Kaduna, Katsina, Kano, Kebbi, Sokoto, Jigawa, Zamfara. That's for the northwest. And then when it comes down to the south, we have southeast has 5. We have Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, Imo. And then south 6. All right. We have Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River Delta, Edo, Rivers. And then to the southwest, where we are, we have 6 as well. All right. We have Ekiti, Lagos, Osun, Ogun, Ondo, Oyo. Now, we've seen 6 basically, aside from the northwest that has 7, and then the extra one that is, you know, the FCT attached to the north.
Maybe we'll just put that one. Let's say 6.
There's just 6.
So it's only the northwest that is having 7.
7. Isn't that some sort of injustice that the northeast now has 5?
The southeast.
The southeast, I beg your pardon. Thank you very much. Has 5 as against 6 states spread across. And
we are talking of just one addition.
That's what he said. He said 1 state, regardless of where
it
is drawn
for equity's sake. I'll go the route to say, let's see how we balance it so that we have 6 across, except the Northwest that is having 7.
And will that not throw anything out of balance now?
It shouldn't cause any imbalance in this. All we're saying is that equity, because from the calculation you've done, we are having like 19 to 17. South is having 17, the North is having 19 out of the 36. So if we have one more created, and we are excusing the Northwest because of the so-called claim of population, so let them have that one edge against it. I think I'll go, but it will not create any imbalance. But what I'm saying is that the current situation we found ourselves, can we see how we have the benefit? I'm still telling you that we are not getting the dividend. As a matter of fact, I expect the Southeast to control so much because of their strength. But I have not seen more.
Strength in terms of what? Numbers or
In terms of
resources?
in terms of resources, in terms of intellectual, like my brother referred to. You see, the creativity of this set of people is out of space. I must give it out to them. In fact, it got to a level that some of the shirts, at the time I go to Aba, my tailor was specifically, the guy is from Aba that made my shirt. And he will tell you that some of the shirts that you are even buying as TM in Nigeria here are from Aba. Because of this complex of a thing, they must see that the shirt I'm wearing is imported. Some of those things are Aba made. Even some of the shoes we wear. So I expect that they should galvanize that strength in the development of the area that will necessitate that, attraction. But I'm not getting it. And that's the place of leadership. That's why we see so much agitation from that area. They have to see, if a Southeast person gets to your territory, be rest assured, I made bold to tell everybody anywhere, there is going to be growth because of their passion for businesses. You see, just like when you see a Southwest person, be rest assured that constructively, the grammars will food the ground. So combine a grammarian with someone who has the innovation and creativity, and with the South that are endowed with resources. Please, who should be controlling the nation? But we've seen ourselves more
politically minded. The northern part of the country has been more involved in politics from independence up until this time.
because they saw the future further than how many.
Is it that
Most
they
of
saw
the
the
time,
future or the
most of the
colonial
time, go to the police force. How much of our people do you see there? How many of our people do you
By
see in the
our
police
people,
force?
you mean
The Southerners.
Southerners.
I'm not talking of Southeast, South. I'm talking of
Southerners
Southern
in general.
If you go to the custom, you go to the
Who do we
police
blame now?
force.
Do we blame the colonial masters?
It's
Or do
not
we blame-
the colonial master gave the same platform, but it's about areas where you look out to.
Well, if you go back in history, it wasn't exactly the same platform that was given.
This man that was the prime minister was from the north, and the other man from the south. But the other man looked at it and said, "Let me have more of my people involved in it." As a matter of fact, we the southerner.
Well,
When you tell
historians-
yourself that you are going to the force,
Historians will tell you that
Yeah.
the colonial masters found it difficult to curb the excesses of the Easterners or the Southerners. The Southerners, because they were educated, so they questioned a lot of things. But the Northerners were they fell in line easily, and
So they gave them more
they were
power.
encouraged.
Then we should
they were
have used
encouraged
that
to
our
develop a
strength.
military force.
that we should have actually used that as strength to see what they are doing to the other party and bring something out for ourselves. Even as of today, I can tell you that a lot of our people are not involved in some of these areas that we're talking. If you go to custom, you go to police, you go to Nigerian army, you go to naval, all those things. If you put the proportion high up there,
So will that involvement now bring the desired change?
Definitely. If you need to, you need to get involved in things. I keep telling you, don't talk from outside. Get
Talking
involved.
about getting involved. I don't know if you recall the just recent the recent police recruitment that took place and allocation. We know allocations are given to states, but we saw a situation whereby in Lagos State, those that were applying were from the northern part of Nigeria.
Because you see, what you should know is that we have this also not complex. We have inhuman to ourselves.
Okay.
Right. As a Southerner, I like the analysis of Sheso. Until we see ourselves as one. The North, they are all coordinated. Right. You see, you put an Hausa in a place, it thinks of bringing more Hausas there. Right. Because it is this my brother. Right. You put a Southerner there, he just ignore every other. He's just selfish about himself. Take for instance, someone went to an office in Abuja. You see, a typical Hausa, if you want to enjoy Hausa, get him. I say, in Akwana, he's so happy. Yeah, high key. And now go the high key. You understand? They feel happy. You even speak their language, right? you speak their language to them. They fall in love with you. And this man saw a typical Southerner from our side with a very good big tribal mark. You know that he's a typical. And he was talking to him. And the man replied in English. And he greeted him again in Yoruba. And the man replied in English. And he saw an Hausa man. And he looked at her and said, you must be a bastard. Because he feel annoyed. We must be able to flow together. Right? You know, there's this mindset of
to flow together when we live
cutting class. No.
Outside.
Yes, because he said that's what also breached them. That's what you see a typical Hausa we saw on the TV. He is feeding together with Alimanjiri. And this is a kind of medium they use. That's why you don't know if this one is richer than this one. Because their cloth is more or less like, if you want to see a typical Hausa man that is rich, you know with his scarf, with his ring. You think their clothes are still the same. So they feel free. And you know, you ask Ekiti, former Ekiti state governor, before he won that election, he brought himself low. You see him eating corn, riding bike. You see, they don't need to wait for election. Look at them. They know the gimmick in the north. They eat with them. You get the fura together. Let's sit together as if you are the same thing. But behind you, I'm scraping your hair. Do you understand? So until, just like you say, until we see ourselves as one, right, and see the mindset of moving the nation forward, not because of power tussle, not because of disintegration, right? So we move into power. When you look, let me just put it like this. When you go into the military space, we have more of the Hausas than the Southern.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, and so they're strategically positioned. There was a time Sokoto man said that we are born to rule. We are not to work. You go and work, we will get the money. Speak so much English, we will get the money from you. So we must get to the extent. Yes, when you get to the extent, the typical seller, we are born to rule. Get the motto. In Sokoto, we are born to rule. We will rule you. Speak all the English. Speak all the ground. Say, no, this hard. This is money speaking. So we must come to that table and say that we have the intellectual capacity, not just the intellectual capacity, we can rule effectively and efficiently. And this must also come when we bring ourselves together in good harmony and in unity.
All right, so let me your concluding thoughts as well. Yes.
On this, I just want to say, I keep emphasizing that the Southern needs to unite themselves. I had an experience of what I was saying in the meeting in the North, but I actually was there to be, unfortunately, the person that were to collaborate on that particular thing had all our lifetime Fina in the North, and trust them. So I was like you, my suit, no tie, shirt, but I just saw the guy wearing their attire. That guinea, it's not even like that.
The kaftan
that
itself.
Kaftan itself, without their cap. And when we got in, you know, the guy just came in. He grew up in the North, so he understands their language. In fact, if you say it, you would think it's an but he's a Yoruba guy to the core. So he got in there and he was like this. And the next minute, they threw themselves to their language. I was like,
and you were lost.
Oh, but when I finished, I hope you know you are here together on this thing. That is, and you see, language is very, very strong.
Right.
Yeah.
My father was still
Now, talking about language, we're actually extending this time. Talking about language now, isn't that what has watered down the unity in the South? Because the language of the North is basically the same. Hausa.
It's
That's
not
what
the
it is.
same.
Oh,
It's not the same.
It's not
The
the
language
same.
of Jos is different from
The Bauchi man.
the Bauchi man.
Oh, they cannot
That-
blend.
so they can,
They
it
don't
gets to a
blend.
point that they can blend, right? You know, they have the common
You
ground.
stayed there.
Yeah.
Finna will
What did
do
you say?
it.
What did you
Stay
say?
Yeah, you
Say
see,
that again.
I said a practical just man is not an awesome man.
yes, it's not a Fulani man, Castina, they're Fulani.
But they can understand each other.
They come, you know,
They
until we
communicate.
come to a level
Let's
and we
look for something
synergize.
that we-
You
In,
understand?
in
The-
the southwest, the Yoruba is
Yeah, even
Yoruba,
Yes, it's
exactly.
divided.
Yoruba, Igbo,
Igbo
and
is different from
Even Yoruba, when we say that in Hausa we have Kanuri, we have we have this and that. The same thing we have is not peculiar to us. Even in the US we are talking about, not all of them are English speaking.
Of course, yes.
Right? So
The
because you
religion
must come
actually
to a
speaks away
place,
from
and
that.
this is what actually drives change. We come together, we laugh together, we can, at that point in time we say that, oh, this is my brother. Right? We synergize together, we move together. Not
Alright,
that
then.
at that point in time, you now form on things that are not
Allow
aligned.
Shola to go for the interview. At least with the Yoruba man. Like he said, with all the tribal man, you get to say, even recognizing him from his name as a Yoruba guy, you just look at you and you take off his eyes. Or a northerner will not. I've studied
Not
that
do
with
that. That's
them.
unfortunate.
They will not.
Immediately will greet you.
Alright.
And he will say, oh,
Let's-
and you're my brother from the north. You know, this sentiment naturally comes in. And you know, I heard
let's-
Fila,
we are-
Fiausa, they just
we are
say,
pressed for
oh,
time.
how do you do?
Let's
It just falls into your shoe.
Oh well, let's get on to the other topic for today.
Well, the next topic, because of our time, is the oil minister of state for petroleum resources has expressed fear that refineries in the country may not get enough crude oil locally for the production of petroleum products. I see Mr. Sheshan chuckling over there, without an increase in production in the sector. Now, these and more we'll be talking about when we return. Stay with us.